night when I first started getting into Arsenal, it started to be Liam Brady because when I first was an Arsenal fan, I thought Arsenal was an Irish club.
Yeah.
Because when I first got to be aware of Arsenal nearly 41 years ago, we had 7 Irish internationals. We had, Jennings in goal, John Devine. It was probably a reserve. We had the guys from the Republic, O'Leary, Brady, and Stapleton. We had the guys from the Northern Ireland, Rice, Jennings, and Nelson.
Nelson,
So that made it kind of an Irish club. So Liam Brady first.
He's got to give us some juice.
Some juice, yes.
He's got to give us some juice, and it's going to be worth a read. But how far does he go? No one knows, do we? We don't know how far is he going to go.
I mean, go on.
You see, he ain't got his statue at Arsenal yet, has he?
No.
Right. So he don't want to upset him too much, does he?
I like your thinking, Hillsy. I like your thinking, but Hillsy, there's so many things that's been left stranded. There's quite a few players who left the football club who the fans point at, don't they? And they have a go at.
Yeah.
And there seems to be a certain familiarity with the way they've left. It's either over money or whatever, and the club seems to get away scot-free. I would like Arsene Wenger to come clean on some of these guys, the Van Persies and Adebayors and all that of this world, because they get some terrible stick.
Mate, wouldn't we all? And I have been guilty of giving some of them stick as well, Yeah. Because as fans, we can't work out why they've left. We've got an idea it's all about the money. Of course we have. But we don't know for sure, do we? And you're right. Look, and that was Ashley going to Chelsea was the start, I think, wasn't it?
Yes.
And we all thought, why not just pay him a bit more and keep him, And then as you say,
and what I'd like to see Arteta do, and I believe he'll do this, is to look young and to look younger, not 18, 19, but if you can pull a couple of gems out of the sky like Guendouzi, Martinelli, bring through the likes of the Sakas and the Willocks and Nketiahs and all them, and you build around that and you mould around that team. So if you're going into the recruitment market and you're sitting there with Edu, and Edu says, listen, we're not going to go and buy Kylian Mbappe up front. We're not going to go and get an N'Golo Kante. But let's go to the Monaco and the Cannes and the places that even Man City, some of their youngsters, and see who's there is the next Jadon Sancho, who is the next N'Golo Kante, and let's find them and let's mould them into the team that we want. And I've said this from the start: if there's a player that is £2 million and there is a Thomas Partey, but Thomas Partey is not going to fit into Arteta's style, I would rather Arteta go and buy the £2 million player that fits into the philosophy and style of Mikel Arteta. And that is, I think, what he's going to have to do, because I don't believe this board are going to give him 150, 200 million to spend. In my opinion, we need 6 players, okay? We need a right back, 2 centre backs, and 3 hard-working midfielders. They're the 3 areas that I think we need to strengthen. 6 areas I believe we need to strengthen in the first 11. That's not going to be in one transfer window. That's going to be in 2 or 3. So what we've got to do now is use what we've got, and I totally understand why Arteta's made everybody installed a load of confidence, and I think that's what he's done. So for me, that's where he has to go down, is the younger route, getting this youth together and making them play as a team in his style and his philosophy.
Okay, so
realised, listen to Pat Rice. He said, "Look, don't touch that back 4."
Yeah.
But what Arsene did, he's inherited some leaders.
Yeah,
he leaders, and for instance, that he had the back 4, and or back 5 because you had the back 5 because remember he had Keon was there and Bold was still there.
Yeah,
winners. He didn't need to tell them what to do.
Yeah.
They kind of told him what was required. You had Tavis Seaman, the best goalie in Europe.
Yeah.
You had Ian Wright still there. You had Dennis Bergkamp was still there.
Yeah.
Who was there at the club. And remember, you had David Platt for his experience. Although
Ray Parlour.
David Platt comes.
Ray Parlour.
As well.
Yeah. These guys. Yeah.
And so what Arsene did is that he brought in Patrick Vieira from AC Milan wasn't game. Remember, Remy Gard was his first signing.
Yeah.
Also, he bought Gilles Gramondi as well. So what he did is that he kind of bought a bit of velvet to the Iron Fist.
Yes.
But what he did is that he got into people said he got Nigel Winterburn in the back 4 thinking, you know what, you guys can play to your 38 because I know you guys can defend. But what I want you to do is there's a lot of things you guys are capable of doing. Like he got Tony Adams thinking that he was he was Facchetti, getting them to come up all the time, and he was doing it. Okay, I know Tony used to do it a lot over George Graham, but that was only for set pieces.
Yeah.
But Tony, and then he had Bold thinking he was bloody he was Pirlo.
Yeah.
Well, Pirlo.
Well,
that
goal against Everton was summed it up, didn't it?
Yeah, definitely. And then so basically, and then Nigel Winterburn used to love his sessions. He got Nigel to be thinking of extending his career a bit, and he's the same with Lee as well.
Yeah.
So in that respect, Arsenal was fantastic with players. Plus he had Vieira as well. So,
mate, it wasn't a game on a Saturday. It was a 2-week affair.
Yeah.
You talked about if the North London game was a Saturday, as soon as the Saturday before's game had finished, you're talking all week about the North London derby. Then there's the game. Then afterwards, you're talking all about the North London derby till the following week. It's a 2-week thing, not just a game. And the players, the commitment from, I'm sure it was different. They looked at it differently. Lee Dixon tells a story, doesn't he, about his first North London derby when, was it Tony Adams?
Rodders pulls him,
and said, you're not a Londoner. You think you understand, but you don't understand, You don't understand what this is all about. Don't lose.
Don't lose. Yeah,
don't lose.
Get stuck in. Don't lose that one. Listen, that was the first thing. That's one of the first things you get told when you come into the Marble Halls.
Really?
I'm telling you, Pat Rice, Terry Murphy, and those guys drill it into you. That lot down the road, do not beat us.
Tell me about it then, Kev. As I've told you about me as a fan, right? And I've got a serious face here because you only got to mention Tottenham to me and this face comes on, right?
It changes, I've said it, Hillsy,
Right. So tell me about you. You're playing in a North London derby. What's your build-up like, mate, in them days with all them proper Londoners in the team?
Well, what?
I think he gets credit, but there's no way he gets the credit he deserves. And the reason I'll say that is because of a few reasons. George Graham isn't just all about 89, okay? It was a fantastic achievement and by far the best ending to any season that there'll ever be.
Ever.
Okay? So he will of course be remembered for what he did in 89 for the Arsenal, right? No doubt. But people forget what else he did and people don't look at what else he did. He is responsible for me finding football because he was the person who went and got Ian Wright.
Yeah.
So he was the person that brought through the likes of Paul Merson and Ray Parlour and give them a chance and your kind self.
Yeah.
He was the player, he was the manager who decided to take us not just in 87 and 89, but through to 91, which you and Lee Judges and a few of us agree was an unbelievably good side and an unbelievably good title winning side. And not only that, he's responsible for 93 cup wins and 94 in Parma, but more importantly, he basically allowed Arsene Wenger to inherit that back five that he plucked out of nowhere. He went and got the David Seaman when John Lukic was a great keeper, by the way. And people must have looked at that thinking, what have we got him for? We don't even need him. Why? Because he was an upgrade and he was better.
Many were upset, Dan. Many were upset about that.
Many were upset. Yeah, because Lukic was a great keeper for us. So I understood that at the time. But then you see Seaman and everyone goes, okay, I can see what George is doing here because he's a much better keeper. Lee Dixon and Steve Bold from Stoke. What's going on there? Nigel Winterburn from Wimbledon. Come on, man. He's done this so well. And people talk about Jurgen Klopp nowadays doing it, and I've respected him for that, for going and getting Wijnaldum from Newcastle, Robertson from Hull. He's done that, George Graham. He did that all those years ago. And then he has then allowed Arsene Wenger to come into that club, bring the French people that he wanted in, that he believed could bring the flair because he already had the stability. And we have to thank George Graham for that. I've got so much to thank the guy for. And you know what? The last thing I'll say is why fans probably don't look at him as much of respect as they should is because the way that he went. Now, for me, it was unlucky. He was not the only manager that was in those circumstances, but he was the one that got caught, right? Yeah. So unfortunately, he went and the rest is history. But the other thing, he went and managed that lot up the road. That is what people got frustrated about.
Yeah, but Dan, let me just say on this one. Go
on.
If you remember, when he left Arsenal, he didn't go straight up the road.
No.
He done his stint at Leeds, and then obviously he wants to come back to London. And if we're honest, a manager's got to work. It's different when you're a fan and you support the club, and obviously he's an Arsenal legend, but if it can happen the opposite way, Sol Campbell, Pat Jennings, all that kind of thing. If it can happen the opposite way, we can't hold it against a manager to go and manage. Yeah, it's against that lot, and we're not concerned about them. But he won them a pot. One of ours made them even a little bit of success. Do you know what I mean? So I can't hold that against George, because if we're honest, it was an unwritten rule that was going on in football back then, because the managers weren't greatly paid. They weren't greatly paid, and there was a few quid floating about under the table or whatever. That's what happened, without going into any details. But George Graham, what he done at Arsenal, he turned Arsenal from virtually a cup team who 80s, we got to a few semi-finals. In the late 70s, we got to 3 FA Cup finals, won 1, lost 2, into winning the League Cup against Liverpool. Then there was 89. Obviously, then we won the title again. Then won the 2 cups, FA Cup and League Cup. Then won a cup in Europe. I mean, nobody. He's done it all, and he learned about Europe and adjusted. And there ain't many managers at Arsenal who could say they've done it in Europe. And what a way to do it as well, with a depleted squad.
I remember the night, absolutely.
Against a top Italian team as well. So
they were.
I particularly don't think he gets the credit he deserves. People tend to talk about statues. I think Arsene Wenger should get a statue, but I think George Graham should get a statue too.
Yeah, I believe so. And if they are going to give a manager one, I think they both deserve it. Herbert Chapman's got one. They're the two that come alongside him. So it's got to be George Graham.
Of course it was. Of course it was. And teams used to love to say, yeah, we went over to Arsenal when we were in the North Bank, or we went over to Tottenham and we got in the shelf side, because it was the shelf side at Tottenham. And
that's right.
Many years ago, it was the Park Lane end at Tottenham, but then that became the away end. And then so it became the shelf side at Tottenham, the North Bank at Arsenal, and Queen's Park Rangers used to walk in there, and Chelsea it was the shed, you know, and
Green QPR the loft or whatever.
QPR was the loft. It was all different, and it used to be the build up during the week. Right, lads, where are we meeting with? It's West Ham this. It's West Ham this week. Can have to keep my head down there.
Yeah.
Quite likely they don't care who they give a right hand.
That's right. West Ham. That's right.
But it was exciting, and of course, if you won, the best thing for me. And I'm still passionate about it now, was winning. We had to win the North London derby.
Yeah.
Because I had to go to school, and I had to go to work later on, and my life was hell. That's not an overstatement.
If you lost,
my life was hell. People used to seek me out, right? Seek me out. Northumberland Park School probably had about 1,200 kids in it, right? And half of that school would be searching for me.
Wow.
Mr. Harrison was the caretaker at Northumberland Park School. And I weren't scared, but I used to think, I could do without
You could do without it. You don't need it, yeah.
Mr. Harrison, the caretaker, God rest him, he died years ago. But he used to let me go in his office. He had a little caretaker's office, and he'd let me go there and make me a cup of tea, because he liked me. He was my mate.
Was he a gooner? Was he a gooner?
Do you know what, mate? I genuinely can't remember. I can't remember what team. He's probably didn't support any team, and so he didn't care. But yeah, I used to keep out the road. I had in Mr. Harrison's office, and then I'd have to go in the classroom. And even the teachers would say, "Oh, look, here comes Hillsy." What was the score on Saturday?
Because a lot of them were Spurs, weren't they?
Mate, 99% of them were Spurs.
Oh, my God.
99% of them. I mean, they used to have ties with Tottenham Football Club because they were so close. My school was like across Worcester Avenue, a step away. And the school used to open as a car park when Tottenham home games.
Match days, yeah.
Mr. Harrison used to ask me to help sometimes. And if Arsenal weren't playing, I'd go and help, and he'd give me a couple of quid for
Nice one.
But yeah, wow. And then
Great days.
Great days.
Great days.
Mate, great. Not